are here in the Card Player Studio with Hoyt Corkins. Now, Hoyt, you're known for your aggressive style of play. When you first started playing poker, were you as aggressive as you are now?
No, I'm being more aggressive now than I was when I first started. It comes with experience. You know, you have to have a feel of the table to be aggressive, and it's just something that's hard to jump in there and go to doing before, you know, you've seen so many hands or years of experience.
So who taught you to play poker? What was your game like when you first started out in the game?
My father was a poker player, and I read a poker book, and it talked about playing tight, playing conservative, folding like 80% of the hands, which I still agree with that to a point. And especially for beginners to play that style. Aggression comes later on, and it's just something that you got to pick up on your way. And I really think that just to go out there and be aggressive, you know, without having some sound science behind it, you know, would be a mistake.
So when did your game change? When did you start to realize that you could start pushing people around and taking pots away from them? Was there a turning point or any advice you received?
No, it was just mostly watching people play poker over the years and noticing that the people that took the biggest chances, the biggest gambles, you know, most of the time they either busted out 12th or 14th or won the tournament. So, you know, just trying to go with that.
So how do you manage to play pretty aggressively at the tables, but yet you're soft-spoken and you're never loud or rude with people? How do you handle people that get verbally loud with you for the way you play?
Well, I really don't ever think about it at the poker table. I think that, you know, to sit down and play cards, that you really need to leave your emotions at home, you know, and just forget about that part of it and just concentrate on playing cards. And there's a lot to pick up at the poker table, even when you're out of a hand. And if you get emotionally involved in playing a hand, then that could be a distraction for you. So
how do you stay emotionally involved? Does the earphones help, or the earplugs I've noticed you wear?
The earplugs help me because poker's got very loud over the last 3 or 4 years, you know, with, you know, the TV and a lot of younger people and a lot of celebrations after winning hands. So I do like the earplugs, you know, just to keep me in a more of a mellow mood. And I still hear things around me, but they're not as sharp and loud.
So do you think that your aggressive nature is the strongest aspect of your game right now?
I think that, yes, but to be aggressive you have to have something strong to your game to build at that point, because if you're aggressive in the wrong spots, then that could really cost you.
Yeah. So what plays into knowing when is the right spot, when to try and take a pot away or when to just back off and let some other guy get it?
The most important thing, I think, would be intense focus. If you could, like, focus in, and if you can get a feel for the other player, the way they move their chips, or the way they move the hands, if you think they're weak or something, then you might want to be very aggressive and try to push them off that hand there.
So do you think that being aggressive is most useful in no limit, or does it work in all games?
Being aggressive is probably more useful in no limit hold'em than any other game. Limit hold'em is very important there. I'm not too much in on the stud, so...
That would take a lot of aggression.
Yeah,
There's a lot of streets.
Yeah, I think stud, actually, I have played it before. I do believe it takes less aggression in stud than it does in hold'em.
Okay. So in general, I'm sure you watch a lot of poker, you see a lot of poker. Do you think most players these days are too aggressive or not aggressive enough?
I would think most players today, especially younger players, are probably too aggressive. I think that, you know, you can win by being aggressive, but there's times to wait for that aggression, that point to get aggressive, and I think most young players get on it too early.
So if you were talking to a losing player and he said, you know, I play like you, Hoyt, I try to emulate your style, but I don't seem to be winning money, what would you tell them to maybe try and cut down on the aggression but yet still keep the selective aggression?
Right, I would recommend that. You know, it takes a lot of years to know how to play cards and a lot of focus just to go and play aggressive. It's not just something that you pick up and just say, hey, I'm going to do it.
So how does bluffing come into play for a player like you?
Well, bluffing is a point that you use for leverage for most of the point, and that, you know, you have to set up your hands when you can get paid off, and you have to push people out of the pot when you have opportunities to do that.
So do you think that your reputation gets you a little bit more action at the poker tables?
Oh, definitely. I really like my reputations for the beginning part of the tournaments, and towards the end, it can hurt a little bit. I just got through playing in the tournament, and I had good chips, and I go 4 hours without picking up a hand, and I have to ante almost all my chips off, and so that's very frustrating from that point of view.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I think we summed everything up.
Yeah, thanks.
Lizzie Harrison with Hoyt Corkins for Card Player TV.